Hey guys, this is the 1.0 release of VSCCI. I'm just go over a couple of new things and how to use all the new stuff and why it makes it easier and all that. So first off, add a bunch of stuff here. There's the ability to do multi-selections. So before you could just select one at a time. Now if you hold control, you can select multiple. You can click and drag to move them. You can also drag select like that. You just click and drag, like that, and you'll see that you get a drag box there. So you can just do that, hit delete, and get rid of all of them. You can also do this, right? So click and drag, move it up, and then copy paste. So Control C, and then Control V. You see it copies the nodes. It will also copy connections. So to show that, let's do that. Copies everything exactly the same. So that's super useful. You have reroute nodes now. So just to give a simple little example here, say I wanted to do something like this. So if some condition is true, you want to go, right? And then you did this. Well, it doesn't look that great, right? Because you're going straight through this node here. You could move this down, but if this gets more complicated, then it just becomes difficult to organize it, right? So now you can do reroutes, which basically let you extend where it comes from, right? It literally does nothing but make it look better, I guess, which is important for visual scripting stuff. So it lets you keep it organized. So you can you can add one here too. You can even chain them together if you want to keep it super neat. Now, right now it looks like that instead of having this, which is obviously significantly worse. That's useful. Okay, there's a couple of new nodes that I added here. I'll just go through them and explain how they work. One is create waypoint. See here, this creates a waypoint on the map for the user, like so for the current player that's actually making this map or making this node graph. This little pin here, it's a little weird. I wanted to make it a checkbox, but that ended up being kind of complicated and I just didn't want to spend the time on it, so it's just a button. If it's pressed, it means it's true. If it's not pressed like that, then it means it's false. So basically, if you push this, then it will make the actual waypoint pinned in the map. If it's not pressed, then it won't be pinned, right? These yellow boxes here are positions. And so in order to get a position, there's two options. You can get the current player position, which just means like your position, so it's your position on the map, so it'll make a waypoint at your current location. Or you can do a named player. So this one takes an execution pin. This one's also a server command, so you have to have server event permissions to be able to run this. But you could type in the name of the player. So like that, for example, would be me. And then this happens here. Then it will find my position and return it, and then it will plug it into this. This is the name of the waypoint that's created. So I will just make the name whoever sent the event. So just to quickly make that happen. See, waypoint was added. And then let's hit M. Waypoint 0 there. I don't know why it didn't actually name it. Oh, it named it my name because the test was, it was a test event, so my name was the person who sent it. So yeah, that's about it for that. Okay, So the next thing, here, I added something that I noticed when watching Mischief of Mice. So people were spamming stuff, particularly follow. So maybe I'll just do it with the follow, just to show it. I added a cooldown here. So super useful, right? Basically anything past this, right? So this particular side will not do anything unless this cooldown is reached. So this is in milliseconds, so let's say if you want to do 1 second, it's 1,000, right? There's 1,000 milliseconds per second. So now, if I do show chat, for example, if this event happens 10 times per second, it will only happen once per second, because this has to have a cooldown. The first time it happens, it will execute, but every time after that, it has to wait this amount of time before it can happen again. So it's exactly like you would like a cooldown on the Twitch point redemption things. So basically, anything past here has to have this cooldown met, and yeah, I figured that would be pretty useful. The other thing here is this. So this random creates a random number between these two numbers, right? So like I'm going to do -10 and 10, for example, and just do show chat. I'm gonna change this back to vid event because it's easier to make a test for that. Now to show it, I'm gonna have to convert that into a string first. So and so now if I just run this test, see, it gives you a random number between that range, and it's inclusive, so it will include the -10 and the 10. So this works really well with the other new node I added, which is the switch. So the switch here can take any input, but it's really only useful for ints and strings, really. So let's say this is a point redemption. I think it's just called a redemption. Yep. So if it's a redemption, for example, let me show you how this would be worked before, right? So before, you would have to do this. So you'd have to have something like this, right? Where you'd connect here, check if that's true, just kind of chain this down. And you would plug all of this into a equals, and plug something into here. Like, are these equal? So like if you, oh, probably not that one actually, probably this one of these two. So like if the name of the event is like I don't know, make waypoint, right? So constant string, we'll just call it waypoint. So if you make a Twitch redemption called waypoint, then this one will happen, right? This. So then you can plug that into a create waypoint, and then that'll make a waypoint. And let's say you have another one called go chat. Right? So here, go chat, right? And then whatever you want, maybe the message that was from the waypoint. So this is what that would look like before, right? Obviously quite messy, a little bit difficult to use, a little bit difficult to understand, things like that. So not great. So instead of that, right, instead of all this nonsense, you can now do this. All this stuff. I'll leave those just so you know what they're called. So now you can just make a switch and plug this in here for the execution, plug the name in there, you hit the plus. You see, it gives you this little box here. Another plus, gives you another box. So now, put waypoint here, and you put show chat here, and you just do this. How great is that? So easy. And then just to make things look nice, Just gonna that. But look how much more concise that is compared to before, and we don't need these either anymore, right? So just to explain what I'm doing now, right? I'm explaining each part of this. This is obviously the input execution, so nothing will happen if that's not plugged in like normal. This is the value that you're checking, right? So we're saying the name of the point redemption event is what we're checking in the switch. Now we're going to say, which of these is this equal to? If it's equal to this one, then it executes this, right? And only this. If it's equal to this one, then it only executes this one. If none of these are equal to this, then it will do this one, right? So if you just want to say something like this, right? Makes it super easy. So way more concise. Another cool thing you can do with this, by combining these two new things, so let's say you wanted a 50-50 chance of doing something or not doing something. You do that. So now, because this is random, it will sometimes be 0 and sometimes be 1, right? So anything you do off of this, it's not really 50-50, it's random, right? It's completely random. So patterns happen, right? It's not pseudo-random. I mean, it is a little bit pseudo-random, but there's nothing in here that ensures that it's 50-50, right? So if you were to iterate this 1,000,000 times, the result would be 50-50. But in 100 times, it's possible that you could get 99 one and 1 the other because it's just random, right? That's extremely unlikely, but it's possible. So remember that. But the point is, you can randomly choose between these two, right? So this will randomly put 0 or 1, and then it will randomly output to these. So you can, do whatever, and you can make as many of these as you want, right? So if you wanted this, not 3, if you wanted like that, you could just do this. Now it's one of these 3, right? And you can think of it like this is a 30% chance of each of these happening. And if you wanted to have something that's like, you only want this to happen 1/3 of the time, you could just do this and just leave these empty, right? Now it's like this only happens once every 3 times. So it gives you a whole bunch of options. It's very flexible. Let's see. A couple other things I did. It was just a bunch of fixes. There was a bug before where when you closed out of this, it would sometimes like not give you back the keyboard input. That's fixed now. Yeah, I redid the entire rendering system, which is why I was able to do this little dialogue here. This is using the built-in like number input that you see in other places in the game. Before I was using a complete custom one, and while it worked, it wasn't that efficient, and it was kind of just like the first put together to go thing. So this is better. It's way faster. It's like significantly faster than the last one. Probably 100 times faster, honestly. Yeah, I think that's everything.